thank you very much for speaking with us. Well, let's start with the events of February 7, when President Nasheed resigned. He says that it was under duress. Was it a coup?
It wasn't a coup. It has been portrayed in the Western media as a coup d'etat. But the president resigned voluntarily. You have pictures of him having a cabinet meeting, following which he writes his own letter of resignation in front of the camera with his cabinet standing behind him. And he could have indicated, even indirectly, if he was under duress. He didn't. And then it took 24 hours before he changed his mind.
Does it disturb you, though, that your presidency is being alleged as illegitimate?
Of course, these are unfair accusations. We were totally unprepared. It took us by surprise. And therefore, we couldn't get our message across to the rest of the world to tell what our understanding of what happened. He had the machinery already in place because all the top positions and everything was appointed by him from his party only. And therefore, they all shifted with him to his house and began the media campaign to show the rest of the world that it was a coup d'etat. It wasn't a coup d'etat. You think if it was a coup d'etat, he would be out here and then talking to you and everybody else, and you know, he has no restriction on his freedom and moving around. You know, we have a democracy here. We are respecting it. You know, we welcome an independent investigation and to find out exactly what happened. We will not be in the way of finding out the truth.
We've seen video footage of security forces out on the street. We've seen people demanding for the resignation of then President Nasheed. Mainly, these people have been the security forces. That's what we're seeing from the video. Also, we have video footage of your current defense minister entering the barracks and then coming out of the barracks demanding the president's resignation. We see him also in the president's office just before the resignation and just after the resignation. Now, at that point, he was a civilian. Why was a civilian given so much privileged access?
I have no idea because I was not part of the what happened that day.
Did you know this was going to happen?
No, absolutely not.
But you met with opposition parties before this, though.
The opposition call for the resignation of the president has been going on for a very long time. For almost 3 weeks, we had serial demonstrations every night in Mali calling for president's resignation for various reasons. And then when this thing happened, nobody expected this to happen. My understanding of it is that the president was issuing unlawful orders to the security forces. And at some point, they decided that was enough, and they weren't going to listen to him. And that's when he decided to go and submit his resignation. But he's changed his mind afterwards. And
why do you think he's changed his mind? Why do you think he's now saying it's a coup?
Well, I think, you know, he just lost it. You know, he lost it, and he realized what a blunder he has made. You know, maybe this was a trick he was playing on the people. I don't know. But he resigned, and he resigned voluntarily in front of the camera. He could have said, hey, I'm under the circumstances now, I'm being forced to resign. Didn't. He didn't give any clue, any indication. He could have called me and told me, Waheed, I'm being forced to resign. He didn't tell me.
What would you have done?
I would not have taken the oath of office if he said that. You know? He should have called me. He didn't.
Why do you think he didn't call you? Is it because he didn't trust you?
No, but we haven't been talking for a while, you know, except in the...
Is this because perhaps he thought you weren't part of his plan in the Maldives?
We all fought for democracy in this country. It's not like this is a reversal. You know, I was part of the democracy movement as well.
It does seem like a reversal, though. Now, you have appointed this particular civilian, retired colonel, as the defense minister. You've appointed Mohammed Jamil as home minister, both of whom are known as supporters of ex-President Gayoom. You've also appointed Dunia Maumoon, Gayoom's daughter, as the State of Foreign Affairs Minister. Now, are we about to see Maldives slide back into dictatorship?
I have also appointed to the cabinet people from 7 other political parties. I'm trying to form a national unity government in which I want everybody to participate.
But everyone is looking at the security forces, and they're saying the people who head these security forces are Gayoom supporters.
That's not true. The Home Minister is not from Gayoom's party. In fact, the Home Minister, the current Home Minister, was in Nasheed's government. President Nasheed came to power in a coalition. He was unable to win by himself. We brought in other parties and we won the election. But soon after the election, he decided to go back on his word and get everybody out of the government. And the Home Minister was one of them. And what we saw progressively after that was a gradual reversal of democracy, in the sense that the head of state began to do things that were unconstitutional, like locking up the Supreme Court, arbitrarily arresting political leaders and detaining them without charge. And finally, we have the situation, very bizarre situation, where the president orders the military to arrest a serving judge.
During these events, you served as vice president. Did you object to his actions?
Yes, I objected, and I advised the president that this was not the way to go about it.
Did he take your advice?
He doesn't take anyone's advice. He's not
Why
somebody who
didn't
takes
you,
people's
as
advice.
vice president then, resign?
I spoke out. I said, this is not the way to do things. I don't particularly like these people or the judge. I don't know him. But this is not the way to go about it. There are constitutional ways in which this has to be done.
Do you trust the judiciary in the Maldives?
I trust the judiciary, yeah, but it has problems.
What sort of problems?
I mean, there are problems in the sense that, it has to be strengthened.
In what way?
They have to have better training in modern use of modern evidence. I would like to see that the judiciary become more independent, that they have more resources.
It has been said that the judiciary in the Maldives cannot be trusted. It's corrupt. It supports the Gayoom regime.
No, this is not true. It's not true. The Supreme Court was appointed by the president himself.
Do you not think that the spectre of Gayoom looms large over Maldives, and this is why you have this political turmoil now?
Not entirely, not entirely. Of course, Gayoom is a factor, because he got 40% of the votes in the last election. He still has some support. The man has to be given a little bit of respect, But there are other political leaders in this country now. There are other political parties here now.
It's certainly very honourable that you want a unity government, that you want all the parties to work together in order to progress the Maldivian democracy. However, it's also been said that there are larger powers than you who are actually the machinations behind what is happening in the Maldives, that you are merely a puppet.
No,
what do you say to that?
This is not true, because I have said, I have my terms on my coalition partners who are now coming into the government. What I'm saying is that you guys, you nominate people and I will put them in the cabinet. It's my choice where I put these people.
Much of the current political turmoil started in September last year when the Islamist group, the Adalat party, left Nasheed's coalition, saying that he wasn't doing enough to strengthen Islam in the Maldives. Do you think Islam needs to be strengthened in this country?
This is a Muslim country. Of course, there will be some political parties who promote Islamic values. This is also true even in Western countries, there are political parties who espouse religious values. And in this country, in my cabinet, we have a range of views. Most of the people in this country are educated. We have emulated liberal democratic values in this country. And so
and
we
yet
also
there
have,
is a growing, rising Islamic fundamentalist movement in this country as well. Do you think Sharia law will work in the Maldives, as some are calling for?
See, even now, our legal system is based on Sharia and the civil law.
But do you think full Sharia law should be or can be implemented in the country?
Well, it is for the parliament, our parliament, to decide. That's what a democracy is about.
I put it to you that perhaps democracy doesn't work in the Maldives. We've seen Gayoom's dictatorship end after 30 years, and then we've seen President Nasheed come in and try to implement democracy. You're alleging that he was dictatorial in some of his ways. Perhaps democracy doesn't work in the Maldives because this is a country that bases itself on personalities rather than policies. Is this right?
These are some of the challenges that we face. But we are increasingly moving towards a society where, first of all, we uphold our constitution, we respect the rule of law, and then we don't have people who can practice dictatorial methods. But this is a struggle. This struggle didn't start only in 2008. It started a long time ago. We all have suffered in the process, but therefore we have a stake in succeeding in democracy, and the democracy will continue. There is no doubt about it. We have grown up with these values, and we want to live in this. We want our children to live in a democratic, free society. And I think it can be done in Maldives. But people have to give in a little bit. You can't, every time something happens that you don't like, you can't go out on the street and start pillaging and burning places. This is a more advanced country. We have more educated people here. It's a peaceful place. And we cannot give this kind of shock to the people in this country. It's not fair.
Mr. President, thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you.
And that's all the time we have for this edition of 101 East. You can always follow the program through our website, podcast, Facebook, and Twitter. From all the team in the Maldives, thanks for watching.
March on Aljazeera.
Fault Lines returns